You can probably get the whole month off if you really want to. But look, I'm not paying this month. You guys didn't hold up your end of the bargain this month.
Mm, Is it pre-show? Uh,
Also, if they don't budge, you'd be like, look, I'll pay other months, but I'm not paying this month. And they're gonna have a hard time.
mhm. No, for sure. I'll definitely bring it up. It
Who is
seems like we are starting momentarily.
who is Steph?
Iggy's girlfriend.
Oh right. She used to do TMT stuff, right?
Here and there. I think we are on.
We're live? No
Yeah.
way. Are we really?
Yeah. Okay. We are live.
No, we're not.
Uh, I am checking the main stream. Yes, we are.
Twitch.tv/FlyQuest. There's no way. Let me check this out. Oh my god, we're live.
Why didn't you believe me?
Why would I believe you, dude?
Why
Uh,
wouldn't you?
it's called the pre-show. There's no freaking TMT later. We're running it.
Yeah, we're running it.
All right. Well, you want to start for whatever you're gonna cut up, or I could start.
Right. Uh, well, since we are starting very abruptly, yeah, this is the TMT pre-show, but
Kodo, I'm
it
gonna
is
do it.
just a show now because,
Kodo, Kodo, you suck at this. I'll do the start.
okay,
You're
okay.
you're embarrassing me.
Well,
Uh,
oh, you're the one that didn't even know this was starting.
dude, look at this. I gotta. You see this back scratcher?
Oh my
How sick is
goodness.
this? How sick is this? You can just go like, "Chow." Oh, that's some good stuff. That's
Oh, those always feel so nice.
They're so good. Oh, look at that.
Mhm,
All right, I'll start.
mhm.
Hello and welcome to an impromptu. I guess we call these commentator blessings on the FlyQuest channel. Usually we do this as a pre-show for TMT, but we couldn't get. We didn't really have a stream TMT yesterday. We had like a TMT light, and I've been sick for the last couple of days. Ever Genesis, still sick, but whatever. I'm on some drugs, and I'll be fine. But we want to talk about stuff before Pound happens. We're like, yo, let's get some stuff together. Let's talk it through and you know, let's have a good time while we have these Genesis results fresh on our mind.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so many crazy things happened at Genesis. I was busy dying as a competitor, playing from 4 p.m. to like 10 p.m. But if I was there as a spectator, I would have had the time of my life. Seeing the craziest top 64, seeing the craziest new generation top 8, and kind of a lackluster finals, but either way, like that doesn't take away from the entire experience. Which one? Like I know this is a lot, but of all the things that stood out, what like stood out to you the most? Because I think for me, what stood out to me the most was probably like no gods in the top four.
Oh, I mean, the thing that stood out the most is Jmook, obviously.
Yeah.
That's got to be the thing that stand out the most. But I think you're right. I think Genesis marked a generational shift. We saw that like the whole top four, top three, if you want to be a little bit less lenient, is pretty much new school players or people who've like gotten better in the last 5 6 years. Um, And I mean, Jmook, IBW, and Zane, especially, you're like, those are just real new names, like genuinely. I know people don't like to think of Zane and IBW as new names because they've been doing well for a couple of years now, but they still are, on Melee's relative terms. And it kind of shows that, like, okay, we're well past the era of the five gods. We've been past it for a few years now, but now we're like, it's over. Like this is whatever this new era is. We don't really know what it is yet. Maybe it's the Zayn era. Who knows? Um, we're in it now, and There's a big shakeup clearly on the top level of skill that's happened over the last few years.
The Mango Zane tier is now just a Zane tier. I'm all for it.
No, no, I mean, Mango definitely had a really weird run, but it's
Hmm.
hard, dude. It's so hard because I think we have our list, so we put the blur rank out, and we have a list of like what the skill level is, and Mango was ranked number one, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, he's done nothing to earn that right now.
It was definitely like the shakiest number one of all time. It feels like we say that every year, by the way. It's like, oh, this is the weakest number one, weakest number one. But that one, maybe actually the weakest number one.
Right, that one was like 2 lands. Uh,
Hmm.
there were the 2 summons, so that one was genuinely extremely weak.
Hmm.
Um, and, it seems like most people would say Zayn's the best right now, which seems clear. LACS and this. That I
Hmm.
mean, he was arguably number 1 last year. Like, that Omega was, like, barely got it. And I think a lot of people still argue Zayn, but, I mean, it wouldn't have even taken 1 result to put Zayn number 1, let alone 2, especially one as big as Genesis, so, clearly the number 1 player right now. Um and so that's part it seems to be established, but the rest is still very questionable. Like we don't really know. Like is Polish actually a top 10 player? Is Laud a top 10 player? These questions we're asking. Where does Moki actually rank? He underranked or does he go up?
Yeah, is
Like
he underranked or overranked? It seems like there's a lot of variance when you are only basing things off of two pieces of results. Wow.
right. Wow. Wow. Who could say it? Who could believe it? And we're gonna have a lot of results in the next few months. So we're gonna like actually see who's good and who's not pretty soon. Right.
Mhm.
And I think we don't actually know right now. So this is why I think like the JMOOC stuff can seem surprising, especially people who are not super looped in. And it don't get me wrong, it was a crazy upset. But him
Yes.
making top 8 is actually not crazy. Him
Mhm.
going from there to getting second, now that's okay, no one can
Okay.
see that,
Yeah.
but Jaden's
Yeah.
top 8 is actually was completely reasonable. You could have easily predicted that if you were just following results, right? Because I think the rankings had him at, like, 15th or something, right? I could pull
Mhm.
up the Blur rank right now.
Yeah. I
But
mean, like, just like from the eye test, whenever you see him play, it's like his tech chases are so clean. Like Sheik's biggest hurdle has always been spacies, most notably Fox. Tech and play Shine, the bane of every Sheik's existence. And he was just tech chasing IBDW at Genesis. Like, perfect.
oh,
Very
okay,
little reversals.
it
And he
was
killed him.
26. Jmook got ranked 26, so lower than I thought. And I'll admit, I was one of the people who voted Jmook lower than there were some people, if who voted for Jmook in the top 20. Um,
Yeah, also, he was like the 21st seed.
right. So it was like the 21st seed making top 8 is not that weird in Melee, right? That's like
What?
that's pretty impressive, but it happens. It happens. 21st
Name me
seed.
one other time where that happened. This is like, I think that's unprecedented.
Bro, Kalamazoo was ranked 27th on Blur Rank and made top 8 too. Like I don't
Oh,
think
I thought you meant like second. I was like, what?
no, 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 not second. I said top 8.
Okay,
So
okay. Yeah, yeah. No, it's not
tw
not
20
that unprecedented.
21st. I mean, it's still great, but I'm saying I could have seen a world where Jmook was one of the top 8ers. Like, that wouldn't have
Yeah.
surprised me that much at all.
Mhm.
But then it went all the way to 2nd place. And, and also, like, the the matches too. It wasn't like Jmook had, like, an Ice at Big House run, right? Where it was like, um, kinda had the easier bracket because of a few upsets. Some people dropped out, blah, blah, blah. Still very impressive, but, like, ended up getting top 3 through, some fortunate things happening, a mix of that and playing really well, you know? Um, this one was like, "Yo, I actually just beat Plup, IBW, Laud," like, just the actual Jmook run in terms of the quality of wins is the most impressive part. It's
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, just beat none," like it the quality of the wins is really what matters here, is that, "Oh, these were just a bunch of top 10 wins back to back to back." Um, and, that's what was very surprising. Like, I don't think there was anyone in the venue that I was talking to right before the IBW said for Jmook that was like, "Oh, yeah." They were like, no one we had like a 4-1 bet going,
I
in
thought
the
5
back
to 1 odds was very reasonable between
yeah.
Jmook and IBDW. If you've ever seen IBDW streams, he farms Jmook.
Yeah, and none of us took it. like, you were in the backstage, right? We were doing side bets. We were like, "Oh, yeah, 4-1, 5-1 for J McIWW," and all of us didn't take it. We were like, "Nah, we're not taking it." That's how
Well, I didn't take it because it was too late. I didn't know, like, that was happening, but I would have taken it. I would take it 4-1 at least, and I would have lost a lot of money.
oh, you would've taken the IBW side.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. But that goes to show, right? Like, you would've willing to take a 4-1 bet in that situation.
Yeah, I would have.
Um,
I'm
and
glad I
it's
was too late making that bet.
and it's not like IBW had a bad day. He went game 5 against Zayn, which is actually pretty good for him.
Mhm.
Uh, 3-0 H-Box, 3-0 None, looked pretty good. Eye test was looking good for IBW, and nonetheless got 3-0'd by J-Book.
Yeah, he,
And
like, 3-0'd H-Box as well.
yeah, so, like, that's the weirder thing. It's like, this wasn't even a bad IBW day. I don't think
Mhm.
so, at least. Um, and, I mean, the way J-Mook won, like, it was, like, actually, I think only missed 1 tech chase, I think I counted in that
Yeah,
set. Like,
like,
it was
2 at most, and he made it that his tech chases made it look like Sheik won the matchup. That's crazy.
and Sheik does not. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
It does not. It
Yeah.
does not win. Um, so, like, that was I've never seen tech chasing to that level in my life, like, not even close. So, to do that in your first top 3, like, at Genesis stage, kinda mind-blowing, right? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
You
at the biggest stage where all eyes are on you, thousands upon thousands of people are watching, I would be shitting my pants trying to tech chase.
which is funny because the one tweet that Jmook made during the run was, "How am I doing this? LOL." That's what I felt. I was like, "How are you doing this? Like, how is this possible?" Um,
I don't know how
so
some people clear their mind like that. He was ripping a pen on the backstage and went up and performed, and that's
yeah,
very admirable.
I don't understand. I literally don't get it. And yeah, so it wasn't just the tech chases, also like just getting a ton of grabs. Like I was just like, how's this dude just grabbing everybody?
And then he
Uh,
walked up slowly and F tilted.
Did that
Have you
sometimes?
did you see like his walk callouts on like because there's some clips out there and highlights and multiple instances of J Mook just walking slowly at them and F tilting, and it's like that is like the sickest F tilt I've ever seen.
Yeah, and just like again, looked insane. It was at a point where it was like, you know, obviously Zayn was impossible, right? But it felt like Jmook more than usually you say like, okay, what's someone's max placement and what's someone's minimum placement at a tournament, right? Like if they play terrible, what is like the worst they can do? And what is
Mhm.
like play great, what's the best they can do? In a weird way, it felt like Jmook over exceeded even the maximum. Like if you told me before, I was like, oh, maybe maximum is like fifth, something like
Mhm.
that. Somehow, like, just actually broke the barrier and
Mhm.
went all the way to second, right? Like, so that was incredible, right? In terms of that. Um, and I say that because I really think that, like, for J-Mook, people talk about the Fox pick and stuff like that, like, oh, could have kept trying. It's like, bro, I don't think J-Mook, like, J-Mook would have to have legitimately have gotten better at the game mid set to have won that. Like, I don't think it was actually possible to win against Zayn yet. I think Jmook did as well. Like, you can't be that mad. Like,
Yeah,
first off, if you're Jmook, you're happy, even though
yeah.
it's a second place. Like,
This is
y-
the one time where I'd be like, yeah, second place in that context is amazing.
it's insane. Like, it's like, dude, you did easily as well as you could have done. Like,
Mhm.
you couldn't have done any better.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I don't know.
I
Pretty damn
did feel like it didn't feel like Jmook versus Zayn was unwinnable. I mean, yeah, Zayn played amazing, but keep in mind that Jmook's record versus Mark before Zayn was like literally perfect, at least in the online era. And
well.
and I was looking at the gameplay when I was playing him in the backstage versus how he played on stage. Like for whatever reason, I don't know how he had like had firm how he was tech chasing so well against the Spaceys, and then against Zayn, he was just starting to crumble for whatever reason. Like, he was tech rolling in a lot. He was rolling in a lot. He wasn't confident in his ledge dashes anymore. So Zayn took advantage of that. I don't know why that was the case, but like, there are some moments where he was starting to wake up and then like actually take Zayn to the brink. Obviously, Zayn, amazing player. Uh, and did some
Um,
crazy pivots and tippers. But I didn't think it was impossible for Jmook either, you know?
yeah, I mean, maybe.
Like remember in the grand set, he was up a stock. He took the first stock, 0 to Deton during the Dreamland game, and then didn't wait dash to the ledge and then SD'd. It was like,
Oh, yeah.
I also thought Jmook was just like started to crumble for whatever reason by the time like he got to Zane, but somehow doesn't crumble reaction tech chasing, getting tech
Doesn't
and
make
play
sense.
shined 0 to death.
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Um, I'll say this too is that uh like this was the best Sheik result, solo Sheik result that we've had in like at least a decade, maybe ever.
Yes.
And you look at
Well,
it,
it was solo chic up until the very last moment, just to screw with the stats.
just to screw with the stats, but it was solo Sheik because we still call solo something as long as they didn't win with the other character. I think.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's the rule.
Mhm.
Because in that case, the other character actually harmed them, right? Like,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's funny because there's gonna be some people out there in the wilderness who are gonna be like, "Well, Sheik's never won a major." It's like, bro, you're telling me Sheik can't beat Marth? Like, this was the best
Mhm.
possible situation in terms of character to character. It was just, Zane's Zane, so he's pretty
Mhm.
good at melee. So, it was definitely possible we were about to have a solo Sheik win finally. That was definitely on the cards now. And if you look at it, like, people are talking about how this is a pretty good era to be a Sheik. You
Mhm.
have Marths running around, you have lots of Falcons, 3, 4 of them. You have, like, 4 Peaches. Um,
And Sheik
yeah,
Falco, not that bad for Sheik.
Sheik Falco is pretty good, so you have, like, Mango as Falco. The only annoying one is that, of course, there's, like, a third of the community, which is Fox, which is, of course, gonna be terrible. But like, there's only gonna be 2 Foxes at the tippy top level, really. 3 maybe, and left in IBW and Moki, right?
Mhm.
So,
And
maybe
Pop.
that's and Mango if he
Plop.
and Plup. Okay. Actually, the Fox thing sucks, huh? Uh, but apparently Jimmy
Well,
just
we say that, but Genesis, I also think another noteworthy thing is that it had a very high character variety. There was only 1 Fox there.
Oh, right, right. That's so weird that we never
Yeah.
have that. Nowadays, we're used to, like, seeing, like, top 8s be, like, 4 Foxes, but this time it was randomly 1.
Yeah, I think actually at World Tour, there wasn't that many Foxes either.
Yeah, it seems like maybe it's net play,
Yeah,
right?
like,
Like,
I
we
think yeah. I think so.
here's a
Because, like, I think also, like, Spaceys, like, since this was, like, the first big land tourney back, that's where nerves start to come to play, and, that kinda hurts Spaceys more
no,
than
it
other
helps
characters, in my opinion.
don't buy that. Don't buy into that horse
I
radish.
say that because definitely I played a lot of Spaceys in my bracket path that, spot dodge a lot more than usual.
God bless.
Mhm.
Oh, here's my
I'm saying that's with my expertise as a top player that I do play to that. Like, I see how much stiffer they are in tournament, and I'm like, brought it to my marked hands.
yeah, I don't know. I don't believe in that crap of they somehow nerves affect them more or some other crap. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, it
Uh,
makes sense because in net play, they're at the comfort of their own home.
I think this has nothing to do with that. Here's my prediction. I think that so net play buffs the fastest characters the most, right? Like we understand that at this point. And it buffs Fox the most by far because when there's lag and when you can't react to people's approaches, um, Fox like just runs you over, right? Like you can't really stop him from coming in. Zuppy's bad. That's great. But
He was one of my victims.
that's hilarious. I'm gonna allow that. Oh, I can't allow that without making all FUs possible in the chat. Anyways, so what was I saying? Yeah, so maybe it's that approaches that they've been habitually trained to think work, no longer work because people have like a little bit more leniency in reacting and making their wall and reacting in general, right? Like if
I would
Fox is
buy that if it was cross country, but now that we're more region locked, I don't buy that anymore.
yeah, probably not. Probably it's probably just random. It's probably this
Also,
is
I
just
just think for whatever reason, floaty, non-Fox characters don't really net play. You know, like a lot of Peaches, a lot of Sheiks, a lot of Marts, they just don't net play for whatever reason. You know, I
did you
find that on average, because
they don't-
whenever I net play late at night, I exclusively only run to spacies. I just think they're just more common on net play compared to in land where it's a little bit more
I'd say more so they
optimized.
play, but maybe at less enter less net play tournaments. I think I think they definitely do. I think it's, again, like I said, like, their character's worse. A lot of them tell me that. They're like, "I don't wanna play at net play tournaments because they at least get in their head about
Mhm.
it, like, they're like, they don't feel like it's the same, so I'm like, "Okay, whatever you say." I don't think it's that different. I think they're all in their head, and maybe some of them don't have perfect setups. Um,
Yeah. I don't know. I just think for whatever reason, on average, spacies and fast followers, they tend to grind more. I exclusively like I remember counting at past 10 p.m. when I was just grinding unranked. When am I gonna not run into a Fox or Falco? And I think I counted more than 10. And it's no use.
I mean,
There's no Marts, there's no Sheiks, there's no Peach. They don't they don't like net play for whatever reason.
I mean, okay,
At least
uh,
at my around my level, because obviously there's my MMR threshold, so it might differ, and as well as time zones. But that is kind of my experiences. Is I think they're
I
just
mean
more common.
like, like, something like a third of the people are gonna be them regardless, right? Like,
Hmm.
even in this brag, like, you're gonna see mostly those characters, but I think we're overanalyzing this, honestly. I think the brag just shaked out like this, and maybe the next one will be different. It's probably the difference. I disagree strongly with the whole they just grind more thing. Doesn't make sense because you asked me name the 5 most hard like, people who are grinding the hardest in Melee today, and I'd say Zayn number 1, Cody number 2, Laud number 3, who's 4? Uh, 4
Well, I'm not talking about necessarily the tippity top. I'm just talking about on
well,
average with
when we're
the high
talking
level
about
players.
we're talking about top 8s though, like, who "Oh, why are they not making top 8s?" And it's like, well, it sounds to me like the people who are grinding the hardest are making top 8, and so that's not that weird, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do think it definitely evens out the top eight. I don't think the character choice matters. It's definitely more about the individual effort of each player. Uh,
I think it's more that, like, it just turned out this way, like, SFAT makes top 8 most of the time, didn't make it this time.
yeah,
Moki
Mango
would
didn't make it.
Moki didn't make it, Mango didn't make it, like, in no Plups Fox would have made it most of the time, like, in another world, it would be flipped completely, and we just happen to have some upsets.
Mhm.
I highly doubt it has anything to do with the character, and I think we're probably overanalyzing it, honestly. Um, so, given that, let's talk about Mango's run, since we were talking about that a second ago. Um, Mango had the weirdest run where,
Mhm.
so he lost to Fizz, which is
Biz
bad.
Wiggle,
Which is
goat.
bad, of course, for him. Great for Fizz. Shouts to
Mhm.
Fizz. Shouts to Colorado.
They actually played at a low tier city six years ago. I remember seeing that Fizz got 3-0 shat on by Mango, and it's got his revenge.
Nice. And so that's bad, but what was cool was, like, Mango then went into losers and then went crazy. Like, beat Fat Goku, beat Cliché. Good run by Cliché. Went really
Yeah.
far.
Hmm. Beat
Beat
Mont
beat
Money and Eggy.
nice. Beat BBB. This is Mango now. Beat SFAT 3-1 with the last game being a 4 stock. And then got really lucky to beat Axe. Like, that's the one he should have lost
Uh,
because Axe
if you're
SD.
referring to the SD from Axe, what other angle could Axe have picked that Dare was going to cover everything?
I'd have to look at it again. You might be right, but nonetheless, like, he was on the ropes, right? Like, he that was a losable set, no doubt.
Yeah, no, definitely, like, yeah, definitely could have gone either way. It's just for that last part, like Mango would have covered everything with that dare.
I never asked to ask. Maybe he was trying to go for the secret double up, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
The
Even then, that
same,
would like put Mango in a really good spot.
you know.
But yeah, no. Regardless, it was extremely close.
Right, and then the H-Box set, he's
Uh,
explaining it a little bit on stream afterwards. Definitely a head scratcher because 'cause you're like, "Look, you fought so hard to get here. Like, you fought really hard." And at the time when I was watching it, here was my initial impressions, but it seems to be that he's saying other things. My initial impression was like, "Oh, his fox is just not warm." Me and Zane were next to each other when Mango was about to play that, and Zane was like, "Mango's 100% gonna lose," before the set happened. And I was like, "Why do you think that?" He's like, "Oh, his fox is not warm, and I don't like how he's playing impatient, and I don't like how he's playing today." And I was like, "Really? You think he's gonna lose to H box? H God? Really?" Because Mango's been doing really well against H box lately. Um,
well,
and he's like,
lately, as in like months ago, but sure.
"You're right, months ago." Um, and he's like, "Yeah, for sure." And I was like, "All right, Zane eye test. Let's see how good it is." And just got mollywopped. Was insanely impatient. Like I've never seen Mango so impatient. Just basically like no respect.
The set was less
And
than 10 minutes long.
yeah, yeah. And just didn't seem to want to work for it. And then later, I heard he said, so that was my first impression. I was like, I guess his fox isn't warm, and just like he's kind of ran out of juice or something like that happened, right? Because I didn't think there was a chance that he like wouldn't try because it didn't make any sense. He tried so hard in like 6 sets to get there, like doesn't make any sense. Um, and I was like, maybe he was really disappointed with how close the X set was, something like that. I don't know. But then it sounded like he just mostly regrets it. Like so I heard he said like on the Lud stream afterwards that if he could turn back time, he would redo the set, blah blah blah. And sounds like yeah, he just got at least part of what I said was right. Sounds like he just got impatient and didn't really want to deal with it at the moment. He was kind of over it, which seems weird. It's Genesis, but what was your analysis of it?
Well, what he told me was like he wasn't that mad that he lost. Like he's literally only practiced for 2 weeks. That was like his go-to explanation. Like he didn't like phrase it like an excuse. It was like, yeah, I'm not that mad that I lost because like I literally only practiced for like less than 2 weeks, and like we're gonna have a shit ton of melee majors soon, bunch of tournaments, and I'm grinding right now. He's grinding literally at this moment. We grinded in person yesterday. Literally Monday, right after he just got back, he was practicing. We were playing, and he's playing every single day. He was pissed off and sub go to pound, and now he's attending.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he's just chalking it off as like an outlier. Like, yeah, I forgot what it's like to compete in tournament. And I played bad in certain spots. I only have only myself to blame, which is like
These
I
are
think it's
all
like
these are all great mentalities, but I kind of still don't understand because I felt like at the time it didn't look like he was trying, right? Like that's how a lot of people
yeah.
interpreted
I
it.
mean, like I think it was like kind of like remembering how to play in tourney again because like he has not attended tourneys very often these last few months. Like his last tournament at that point was LACS. Here we are 3 months later, where it's like I forgot how to like grind my way through losers. I forgot what it's like to keep my grit up in winners. And yeah, of course he ran out of steam at that point. And it just seemed like he forgot, and now he's like looking back and is like remembering all this. And I think he'll do better than Night That Pound. Just like
Yeah, well, duh.
he's
But
gonna he's gonna um I just think he needs to re-remember, because he's been through this all the time, like this is not the first time we've seen Mango bust her out, and he's always learned.
the truth is also like we're not like one advantage that the players have in knowing in knowing how their like game form is that they're playing friendlies all weekend. And one thing we don't see is there's a chance that Mango was playing friendlies against, let's say, the Codys and the Zanes of the world, and was like, "Oh no, it's not going to happen this weekend," And that might have been in the back of his mind where he's like, he's an all or nothing type of guy where it's like he either wins the major or he doesn't. Like ninth or second for him at least, the way he thinks are like the same thing, right?
Mhm.
And if he feels like I'm not in good enough form to really beat those guys right now, then maybe that was in the back of his mind and didn't really want to deal with it at the moment, right? Um, Now that's my complete speculation, but I have seen stuff like that happen before where they're like, ah, this is not gonna be my weekend anyway. Like I'm not gonna have a great run in me, you know. It's kind of how what they're thinking, and then they don't put it all in. But either way, still a good run for HBox. HBox, the most confusing player in Melee today, where we can't tell how good this guy is. Got fifth, you know, a very respectable fifth. Beat Laud. That set,
Be
of course,
Polish.
beat Polish. Set was hilarious.
Why are we congratulating him for beating Peach?
Why shouldn't we?
What? Why? It's like this is how HBox gets his clicks. That's how he gets his brand growing. Is that we congratulate him for timing out Peach.
Still
Because
hard.
like this is like something that shouldn't have been a question to begin with. Honestly, like he was just W holding at Peach for such a long time, and uh and now he's actually playing at like the proper ranges, like not just W holding, and he wins. He's popping off over Laud, timing him out and being in 3-1. And it, it's just strange because like it seems like he is it wrong for me to say that he hold backs just a little bit online.
I will say this. First of all, that was a winnable set for Laud. Second of
Mhm.
all, Laud won literally last time with HBox playing the exact same way, right? Um, so
Well, his rest
and
setups are a little better.
and what HBox said was, "Hey, give me another puff that could be Laud right now," and he's right. Every other puff in the world will lose to Laud right now, so you got to give him credit.
That is true.
Um, like end of the day, you and me could pick up a controller, pick Jigglypuff, and we get bodied by Laud, right?
Mhm.
So there's only one human in the world that can beat Laud with Jigglypuff. I don't care how he does it. That's still impressive. Now, having said that, it is really weird looking back at like 2 years of losing to Peach, and then like he plays it the way that he used to. And you're like, okay, it's much better now, at least, right? Now, I think him versus Laud's still a coin flip whenever it happens because Laud's that good.
Mhm.
Um, but before it wasn't a coin flip. It was like, no, the Peaches are going to win, right? And it feels like he's got Polish down now, whereas Polish used to be taking sets, right?
2 sets.
Uh, yeah, it took 2 sets, right?
Mhm.
And so now it feels like that's probably not going to happen anymore, right?
Mhm.
So just a weird storyline, right? This HBox versus Peace thing is just super weird. Like, uh, it's one of the things that we were very excited to see. Like, I think going into top 8, everyone was talking about the set they want to see most was HBox Laud because they thought it'd be hilarious. Among the people I talked to, like, they didn't want to actually, like,
Oh, dude, nothing happened for the first 30 seconds, and people were roaring in the crowd. It was pretty funny.
the crowd was insane for that set. That was the loudest the crowd was for anything. They were, like, going crazy for
Mhm,
HBox Laud. And of course, the HBox fans love it because they just, like, I don't know, they love that matchup more than anything because they're used to watching Ultimate. This isn't weird to them at all.
mhm.
And so, just a little it's good for him, but now it's really confusing how good HBox actually is. It still feels like it's impossible for him to actually win a tournament. Um, but it seems like he's just gonna be getting fifths and sevenths and making top 8 still,
Mhm.
which is still very impressive. Like, end of the day, he outplays Mango by 2 placings, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Last I checked, that's his competition for GOAT, right?
Mhm.
So, not bad.
Um, you think HBox kinda, like, lost the grit of, like, "I have to win at all costs" back then when Melee was his main thing?
Yes, but I also feel like Zay and IBW are just better than him. So it's like, how much is it like, so what made him good was insane mental game. He lost
Mhm.
that for a little bit, because Online
I
happened.
kind of think that he still doesn't have it, like to
He
the
still
extent as he did.
he
Like he
doesn't, he
still
doesn't.
has like a very good mental, but like not to the extent as before.
So if but before HBox was like 15 out of 10 mental, probably the best mental game, like maybe ever, right? Like it was
Mhm.
just insane. Where there was
Yeah.
no doubting, like this guy was just gonna grind it out, clutch it, do like 18 long sets if he needs to, and
Mhm.
just play for the W and then yell in your face, right? Like it was kind of magical. And we
Mhm.
all miss it. It's so funny how much we miss it when it's gone, you know? We're like, "Oh, that was fun."
Mhm.
Uh, and, so if that was like 15, there was like the
Right, I
online
mean, like,
era.
okay, so to clarify, like, my earlier comment about, like, why we're congratulating him, it's not meant to be, like, mean-spirited, but it's like, back then in, like, 2018 HBox would have, like, done that, like, on a fly. Like,
Yeah,
like, I don't think it's a question, like, back then when he had, like, that 15 out of 10 mentality.
right. And so then during online era, he was like more like a 2 out of 10 where you're like, "Dude, you're like the one of the worst mentals. This is so weird." And then and then now it seems to be evening out at like a 7 or 8, where it's
Yeah,
like,
like, and then he, like, pushes it to, like, a 9,
yeah.
and, like, that's still very good, the majority of the Melee players. Um I honestly don't think skill matters that much. Am I crazy saying that? Like, okay, Zane and Cody might be like, I don't know, melee skill might be better, but like, there's so much more inexperience compared to H God, Like, you saw Cody Zane, like, how much they were choking up when they were playing each other. Like, they both
Yeah.
admitted it later on, how, like, they were very nervous, they were kind of stuck, and like, there was a lot of tension. And you're really telling me that 2018 HBox would have lost to either of them at that moment? He goes forward in time, plays his 15 out of 10 mental. I think HBox wins.
Oh, that's a call. You're saying the Armada, the meta hasn't evolved? You're making that take? You think
No,
20 was
I'm saying that HBox I miss HBox's win at all cost mental.
it was pretty badass.
Mhm.
Here's what I'll say. So it's
Because,
funny
like,
that
I think, like, in friendlies, HBox and or Zayn and IBDW, they would kick 2018 HBox, like, no question. But in that grand stage where, like, no tourneys has happened and they're moving like molasses, yeah, I think HBox is gonna destroy them because, like, part of what made HBox so good is that he was capitalizing so much off of any mistakes that happened.
yeah. So here's what I'll agree with you on. First of all, Mango says melee is 90% mental, and I tend to agree.
Mhm.
I think melee the more accurate statement, though, is melee is 90% mental plus game plan, right?
Yeah.
When things are going bad, you need to know, like, "What am I supposed to do?" And go back to that, and that's part of the mental of, like, "Alright, what am I what's going on? Let me, like, take out the noise and go back
I
to something
do still
simple."
need to work on that. Yeah.
Yeah, like, let me
That's,
go
like, currently my weakness as well.
let me take out all the noise and go back to something simple that works, right? Like,
Mhm.
that's, like and being really good at that simple stuff, like you say that, like being good at the algebra or whatever that you like to use, being good
Yeah.
at algebra. Some people are really good at calculus, right?
Mhm.
But you gotta get really good at algebra to win in these sort of settings.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a baseline.
right. And you know my opinion. My opinion right now, Zayn happened to win this tournament. But I personally believe, and some people might disagree with me, that Zayn is like actually 8, 9 tiers above everyone in terms of skill right now. Like I think he is far, far and away better. Just from watching streams and using the eye test and like in general seeing him play, I think he's fucking cracked as shit. But when I watch him
Very,
on
very good.
stage, when I watch him on stage, I was like, he's at a 2 out of 10 compared to his normal, right? Like even like the IBW said where I saw people online saying that was good. You and me were like, that was terrible. But it
Mhm.
didn't matter. Because like it was better than Cody, and that's what you expect in tournament, right? Like it actually is what makes tournament melee so fun. Like I think tournament melee is the most fun form of melee.
Yes.
Because
You never truly know.
because you're really just it needs to be you have to go down to it, right? Like, it's like, ultimately, like, it's all about getting that dub, right?
Mhm.
And that's something that Zayn, I think, has struggled with for a long time too, is just, like, learning how to play and just get that W no matter the cost, like,
Mhm.
sort of situation. And it's probably frustrating, not being able to, like, always playing at 20% when it's on stage, and then, like, you play friendlies against people and you're just fucking destroying them. That's
Yeah.
probably annoying too. Um, but you're right that HBox was extremely good at that particular setting. That was always his thing. Um, and so it's I think this is an improvement, and I wouldn't be surprised if, like, in 6 months, we have him back, like, completely. Because the truth is that, like you're saying, it's not really about him getting better at the game as much.
Mhm.
It's about him getting better at what he's good at, which is being really good in tournament and being really good in sharp and like never say die, like that sort of stuff. Like just being really hard to knock out. Like and that's the part that's like slowly getting better, and that's what makes him scary. Because no matter who you
Remember
are,
when we were, like, back in H God's prime days where, like, he you never count out game 5 last stock Hungry Box. That's how he got, like, half his wins against, like, the top 10, is that it would always look like he was on the brink, but when it came to last stock, last hit, bonus points that he was at 130%. It felt like more often than not he won, right?
yeah. And I mean, that's like no matter who you are, someone who fights that hard, like it's gonna be difficult. Like
Yeah.
just on that alone, like they're just trying. They're like popping a blood vessel, bro. Like they're that is going to be hard no matter what.
Mhm,
And so yeah, that's my personal opinion. I think that we'll see him keep getting better. Is what I actually expect to happen.
mhm,
Um, because I think he lives for land. And he's gonna go to a bunch of them, right?
mhm.
So all right. So we talk about HBox. We talk about Xbox versus Laud. We talk about Mango's upset. What about Plup? Plup. A lot of people picked Plup to win the tournament. Definitely didn't make top eight.
Yeah,
So that
that's a shame. Because, like, if he didn't lose to Jmook, don't you think Plup, like, he had a pretty good bracket path, right?
I mean, his loser was good too. He lost to Ginger.
No, 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 no. Like, say he beat Jmook, he
Oh
was
right.
probably gonna beat Laud. He was probably gonna beat None, and he would have had a very competitive set versus Zane, right? Like,
No, I don't like the probably gonna be Laud thing because Jmook barely beat Laud, and it feels like nowadays Laud is like cracked as he is jacked, right? Like
yeah, obviously, like it wouldn't be free for Plup, but it is Plup flavored, like Plup favored. Like
because it's
we're
Plup,
not gonna disagree.
you'd assume, but I'm just saying like end of the day, the tournament where he's losing to Ginger, I'm not gonna be like he's gonna be Laud. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm basically just saying like this is Plup's off day. Like, maybe if it was playing a little better, he would have. I don't know. Like I think had things aligned to him, like I don't think it was far fetched for people to say that he was going to win the tourney, and unfortunately things didn't pan out as it did. Like, because if you look back at his set versus Jmook, he missed some pretty crucial edge guards. He missed some pretty crucial reversals. Like, especially game 5, like I could count you like 2 to 3 separate instances where like, oh yeah, Plup landed this bear or this shine. He would have been up 3 stocks to 1 against Jmook, and the comeback went like that. The Cinderella story that we know wouldn't have happened.
In general, Jmook's run could have ended so early.
Mhm.
Because if you watch the Plup set and the LOD set, you're like, "Bro, this guy could." The LOD set, by the way, I don't think that was on stream. I watched that in the crowd. That was so close.
Yeah,
That
what?
was, like,
That wasn't on
last
stream?
dude, don't even get me started on the stream. Actually,
Oh
get me started on the
goodness.
stream.
Yeah, I want to get started in this too. None of my sets were no, go on, go on.
None of KoDoRiN's set was streamed. Mango SFAT, 2 top 10 players, unstreamed. KoDoRiN Moki, unstreamed.
KoDoRiN Polish?
Dude, Slug, did any of Slug's run get streamed? He got
Slug's
9th.
run Slug, his only stream set was him versus Lod, and it's like, wow, cool.
Zuppy saying something was on stream that which one are you talking about, Zuppy? It was Plup was
I have a feeling Jmook Lod was on stream.
yeah, because that's winners top like winners
Zappy
three top.
KoDoRiN off stream.
All right, that was fine. That was fine. uh,
Sorry, Zappy.
that that was fine. No, it was just earlier in the bracket. Like that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm just saying there's some pretty bonkers ones that you're like. I mean, was Fiction Axe even on stream? I don't know. Maybe it
no.
was.
Plup Ginger apparently was like the best set at the tournament. That was off stream.
Plup J Mook? That was on
No,
stream.
Plup Ginger.
Oh, that was off stream, yeah. Um, I mean, the people who were in the crowd got to see a lot of the great sets. I'll say that being in person was great for this one. Um, but like, oh yeah, freaking the best set of the tournament, Chu Ben,
Oh my god.
the best set
Dude,
of the freaking
did you
tournament.
hear what Chu and Ben were like? So Chu was asking Ben, "Yo, you play Luigi, right?" And Ben was like, "I don't have to answer that. I don't have to answer that." As
That's
if he was getting
so
interrogated
funny.
by the police. I
That's
don't have to
so
answer that.
he doesn't have to answer that. That's true. Though Chu can literally turn around and ask anyone in the venue, and he they'd be like, yeah, yeah, he does. Um, dude, okay, let's talk about Chu versus Ben because there's two big things to take away from that set. Because even though Chu lost to Zamu 3-2, close as crap afterwards. And by the
Off
way,
stream.
off stream. But if Chu had won that close set, he would have had Crudo next, which he's basically guaranteed to win because he's Chu Dad versus Sheik. And has
Mhm.
never lost to Sheik in his entire life.
Yeah,
Uh
name one, chat.
he hasn't. No, it's like that's the longest running streak that we know of. And
Yeah,
then he would
come
have had
on.
an Icy Zero get slugged. We could have had Chu as like ninth place. Like that was so possible, right?
Mhm.
And it really, first of all, it speaks to two things. Number one, Dad really is a top 10 player of all time. I don't care what any of these stupid lists say. Some people put him like 11th or whatever. I'm like, this guy's longevity is stupid. It's like insane. The fact that we're even talking about this right now, like that he's just easy getting like 17s at Genesis, like 15 years out of his prime. Like, what are we talking about right now? This dude's cracked. And we banned wobbling. So I don't want to hear any of that shit. This guy's just crazy. Um, and okay, so there's that. Number two, he's a madman. That's part of what makes him good. An actual mad lad. Chu Dats has had a few secondaries that he puts out a tournament. They've always been head scratchers.
Remember
He's had
MTK's Ganon versus Chudat's Fox? That's something people wanted to see.
I commentated that, and Chu won. Chu also used to go Pikachu against in the old days, right? A lot actually, a good amount. I remember against like Caveman's Young Link, right? Young Link, Icy's kind of annoying, but he went Pikachu against Young Link. Don't ask me why that makes sense. That's what he used to do. He's had a Mario, but not really. You know, me
Why
personally,
Mario of all characters?
I'm like Chu. You probably have like four characters better than your Mario. Why Mario against
And he
Luigi?
won!
He knows what he's doing, clearly. He knows stuff that we simply do not. We do not see the game like Chudats. And I was talking to Ginger at the time, who was watching it with me. He was like, no, actually, Mario is a great choice. I know this matchup. I was like, Ginger, you're just saying that because you're watching it work. Uh, but he gave me at least some of the reasoning. So what Ginger said was he thinks that Mario doesn't get comboed by Luigi at all. Like there's like literally no combo that Luigi can do on Mario.
Okay.
He also says that Luigi can't edge guard Mario. Luigi's really good, usually really good at edge guarding. He's really good at like at least doing some combos, overwhelming stuff, right? And he says that's like Mario takes those two things out so that Luigi has to win tons of neutral. Like, and Luigi's not that good at that, right? Like that was Ginger's theory. I can sort of see it, right?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
But it sort of makes sense. But that's the thing. It only sort of makes sense. I still think to be in this situation of Genesis and confidently go your freaking Mario in this situation is just so crazy. And not only that, but he also to win the set had to win the IC's Luigi, right? So he just won, and he clutched it. So there's two things there. So I don't understand, man.
Oh my
Choose
god, that just made me realize that Ben probably got yay-yesed. I'm
he did
sorry,
get
Ben.
his. It was a well deserved one. To be fair, it was a well deserved one. It was is well deserved. I don't know. This guy like he's gone through like so many eras now, both wobbling banned and unbanned. Both like many different years it's been banned, many different years it's been unbanned, and he still seems to be doing well. It doesn't seem to freaking affect him. He's just really good. So I just want to give an ode to Chudat because end of the day, it's one of the most impressive things in Melee. The fact that this guy's still good. It's crazy.
And what a tragedy that none of that was recorded or streamed at
Stream.
least.
I think they record a bunch of it, so that part's at least good.
But it's not the same, and it's like it's gonna take like 2 months for them to upload it, and, I'm lucky that I had a fan that was following me recording all my sets, so I have it up on YouTube with that charming phone recording, 2008 style, but how could this be better, Blur? How like, is it a 3rd streaming setup? Is it, better scheduling?
It's just better
Is it
scheduling.
okay.
So, I mean, there's some people who are disappointed with our viewership day 3, and you know my thoughts.
Yeah.
It's just about the schedule.
Yeah, why don't you
Um,
explain it to
so
our beautiful viewers?
so basically, there's a lot going on, right? Basically, the way Twitch viewership works for Smash
Oh,
Majors,
and
and
before you go on, like,
go ahead.
why, like, so, like, 60K, I saw some people like, "Oh my god, we got 60K viewers." And it's like, Genesis normally gets, like, 100K.
Yeah, that's not that good for Genesis. So Harpod asked, "Can you tell which states that were streamed and deserve to stream? Pick another set in the same round." I'm not going to do that because Harpod, you're missing the point. So keep listening. The point is there needed to be more time for top 64, and there wasn't. Um, and there easily could have been. So especially with the number of setups. So like basically, it's schedule. It's mostly scheduling. It's mostly and overall TOs in general. And this is not just Genesis have been like
Doubles?
putting doubles on Friday and also just not valuing and doing optimal stream scheduling. It's really annoying because when I was at Twitch for 5 straight years, here's what I would do. At before every major, I would have a pre-major, like I would have like planning sessions with them where I would look over their stream schedule, all this shit. And then after a major, I would have a post-mortem meeting with every single major. I did this was like 30 plus meetings a year. I would do like this. Probably like when you add the pre-meetings also, it's like more like 50, 60, right? I
Mhm,
just did this with everyone. So I feel like something in general, what you're supposed to do should be well known, right? But nonetheless, it seems like tournaments have gone back to doing really poor viewership optimization. Um, and so some of it is like they should just do better on that. And some of it is just more unfortunate. So I'll get to this. Um, so first, with unfortunate stuff is that during COVID, a lot of the people who used to be broadcasters, like streamers, like stopped doing it. And so I think there's a lot of talent lost. Like we gained some talent, like the Cards and the Iggy's of the world.
mhm,
Like there's been a few new people that have risen up. These are stuff people that probably the viewers don't know as well, but they're the people who are actually producing our streams. They're producers, right?
mhm.
Uh, but there was a lot of people who kind of stopped doing it because they didn't have any gigs. And, you might have noticed because you're like, "Oh, why does this Genesis look worse than the Genesis from, like, 3 years ago, 4 years ago maybe in terms of production?" Right? It's like, yeah, because it's not the same people, and the people that were doing it before, like the, Spencers of the world, whatever, aren't doing it anymore, and they were really good, right?
Yeah,
And so, like, the new people have getting a bit more experience, but it's part of the general churn that we talk about in Melee all the time of, like, because we don't have the sustainability, we lose good people all the time. So, that is
and
part of
and
the
and and part of, like, the pandemic just made it even worse.
made it even worse. So we lost like a good amount of TOs as it is. We lost, but we also lost a small bit of players, but not really that much. But actually, the one that hurt the most is we lost a lot of broadcasters.
Mhm,
Most of the people who were back there, it was like their first Genesis, like first big stream running. They've never done anything of this scale, which is not a good sign, right?
yeah,
So there was a handful of things which, like, in terms of production, I nitpick here and there, but it's like these guys, some of them didn't even have the equipment to like do an incredible job, right? So I don't actually fault Genesis for that much because the truth is like if you look at their options throughout the scene, they didn't have that many people who like were the experienced people with the equipment that what they used to have, right?
mhm,
They didn't have that many choices because those people don't do it anymore in the same way. So that's naturally going to make it so that the stream is going to not be as good as it used to be. And I think that's the thing that will probably persist until the new people um, get more experience. Thankfully, we still have Juna. Like, if we didn't have Juna, I don't know what the fuck Melee would do because that guy's just going to be doing every tournament. But like Melee every day is pretty much the number one people now because there's like no one else. Like they all stopped. Um, so there's that, right? That's a big factor. But another thing is that TOs have got in their head that Friday doubles is a good idea. It's a bad idea, and this is very we've already ran this test. There was an era, you'll remember, KoDoRiN, where, like, there were previous Genesis where doubles got more peak viewership than this current Genesis, right?
Yeah, I remember, like, the Pew Fat,
Right.
like, the Genesis same circuit or something, I don't know, but, like, I remember the Genesis where I think Plup M2K won, I think I had, like, 80K peak viewership.
Yeah, it was like 80, 82, 86, something like that for doubles, and that was
Yeah.
and then singles kept growing from that, right?
Mhm.
And so it wasn't just 1 year. It was like so it wasn't like one outlier year. It was like there was like a 3, 4 year period where doubles was maybe not as important as singles, but it was like 80% as important. Like people really cared, right?
Mhm.
There were Pew Fat fans everywhere. It was like a thing. And for the people who were around, they'll remember that that was like it was like pretty people cared a lot. Then TO started doing every single tournament, they put doubles on Friday, right? And
Yeah.
the reason they did this is they started doing this because they're like, look, if we make doubles on Friday, we could put some singles round one pools on Saturday so that some people who like have work on Friday can come and basically come for the 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, and like they don't have to take a day off of work. And they believe that that'll get them more attendees. It
Eh,
has not been proven that it'll
eh,
actually get them more attendees.
eh.
And to what degree it would, it's hard to say. Maybe it
Mhm.
would, maybe it wouldn't, right? But it has a compounding effect for a few reasons. Number one, it makes it so we don't have top four doubles on Sunday, which would help our viewership ramp on Sunday be better, right? And it would make doubles important again, right? Now, when you have doubles on Friday, people just don't enter it, right? We had
Yeah,
Plop
like,
Owens win, but
the
that's it.
the attitude towards doubles nowadays is that, like, it's already hard enough for singles when there's no rankings, and then you add look at doubles, it's just like just in the Netherlands right now, or in the nether world where it's not even talked about at all. Like
Right. So
we
it's
have
like,
Riot and Tempo running the scene, I guess.
well, they didn't win, but nonetheless, you get the idea, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely no one else. It's just like right now, doubles is a huge joke, is what I'm saying.
right, and like, and you know why? Kodo, say it once again. What's the thing that runs the melee scene? What's the blurrism? Pride and shame. That's what
Yep.
runs the whole scene.
Hmm.
And no one gets pride from winning doubles right now, right? Because it's on Friday, no one's watching. There's not a real stage for it like there used to be. But if you put doubles on Sunday, they all of a sudden give a whole lot of a shit,
Hmm.
right? Because they know, oh fuck, this is like a main event. And like all of a sudden you'll see the Zanes entering. It's like really easy stuff. This is like 1 plus 1 equals 2 stuff, right? It's like you actually make your tournament matter, and all of a sudden they enter. It's not that complicated,
Hmm.
right? And so that's part of it. But even if you don't care about doubles, it has a compounding effect. Because there's so many conflicts for if you have to finish doubles on Friday, it means that there's a lot of conflicts on day one. So, and because you're doing the strategy of you want some of round one pulls to also be on Saturday sometimes. Now, I'm not sure if Genesis did this, but a lot of TOs do this. Um, it means that you're extending round one pools. You're making round one pools go
Yeah,
way
there were
longer than
there
they
there were
need to.
some people that had 10 a.m. round one pool Saturday.
You did, so you know that. Okay, so they did do that.
Yeah,
So
for
it
like
has
$10% of attendees.
a double combo effect, right? If you're optimizing for stream, what do? You get round one pools done as fast as possible. You get to the good matches, right?
Mhm.
But instead, what we have now, through insanely poor optimization for stream, is we have 1.5 days of round one pools, right?
Yeah,
And
nobody cares.
when Sunday's only 4 hours long, now instead of being 6 hours because doubles top four isn't there, right? You actually start having only half a day, which is half of Saturday,
Mhm.
and 4 hours on Sunday as good content. When
Yeah.
before, when you actually did real ramping and you did real like optimization for the stream, you had 3 full days of good content, right?
Mhm.
Like this is again, this is just pure. This has very little to do. It's very hard to compare and think about like, oh, is melee smaller now because of the numbers? It's like no. I'm pretty sure if we ran these sort of schedules back then, we'd get the same result. Like it's not really that complicated.
At least
Uh,
better than what we have now.
sure, and like Uh, personally, I think that's mostly it.
And
Is
also,
that
like, for whatever reason, we stopped having, like, exciting day 1 events like draft crew battles. or like
Right.
whatever fun activities that had top players do something like at least something entertaining day one, any salty sweets or whatever.
Right.
That
Right.
was just round one pools, and it's like I have some casual friends of mine that's like, oh yeah, like can I see how you compete in melee in my personal life? I'm not gonna link them Friday because it's like nothing is happening Friday. I'm linking them only Saturday and Sunday.
Right. Exactly. So that makes the ramp really worse. So basically, the way melee viewership works, and in general stream viewership for these majors work, is it's all about ramp. I know when I see day 1 viewership how much their day 3 viewership is. I predicted within 5K. I'm always right. It's not that complicated. Because you see a number and you know how much it's gonna ramp to on day 2, you know how much it's gonna ramp to on day 3. When
Mhm.
we're getting a lot of engagement on day 1, it gets people in and in and in, and then all of a sudden by day 3 we're hitting big numbers. But that doesn't happen if the content is bad for so long. So that's basically what's happening, and we're end up having so little time for top 64 that we're now talking about like half of the good sets were in stream, more than half, right? Because the early parts of the tournaments took so long, and again they had a shit ton of setup, so that wasn't even the constraint at all.
Mhm.
Um, and so, obviously there was probably other stuff that I didn't account for, which is like maybe there was a lot of waiting between. I know Radar said he waited like 30 minutes while commentating for a stream match. So there was probably a lot of downtime too. But I bet that it was just that it wasn't optimized like it
Mhm.
normally is, and or has been in the past, and this is all we're seeing. That's why, right? Like it's not that complicated. Um, and so that for me that's disappointing because this is stuff that we've already covered before. Like for me, it's like how many times do I have to teach the same things, right? Like you have to do the same things the way you're supposed to do it. Just to clarify for people, preferably, and big house has done it before, so you can do it at big tournaments. Is you run one round of round one, and then you run round one and round two concurrently, right? And that way, round two, you can stream that the whole day. You only need, and this is if you do an optimal stream setup, you only need maybe 2 hours of round one pools on stream, if you do it optimally. But nowadays, we instead have like 15 hours, which is crazy. And when you really shouldn't have any of it, really. Um, so that's annoying. I hope the other TOs, like I hope, like you were talking about the day one stuff. I hope Big House does regional crews. If they don't, then like we're gonna have the same problem for that. I hope Pound is thinking about stream a little bit at least. Maybe that's gonna be better. They'll have a hard time not
Also,
being better because they're
al-
300 people.
also for whatever reason, like I felt like Genesis's round one, not even counting the DQs, was like maybe like the easiest round ones of all time. Because okay, I had two DQs, nothing you could do about that. But like the pools were just really small for whatever reason. Like
Yeah, so there was a lot of DQs because thankfully a lot of people were the homie. So this event was still really big. I had
But
like
but but, like, I don't know, like, when I remember, like, Evo, maybe I don't know, maybe I'm just a better player, but, like, I don't know, I also felt like round 1 pools were just smaller, even without accounting for DQs. Like, say I did play people, but, like, I don't know, I also felt like maybe the round 1 pools also weren't, like, optimized. I felt like bringing that up.
I don't know about that, but I think you're right that this was probably the easiest round one pools of all time. A
Mhm.
lot of it was because of DQs. So because of the date switch, there were some people who couldn't make it, but they didn't refund themselves because they were trying to be nice to Genesis, which is
Mhm.
shouts to those people, you
Shout
know,
out.
because they didn't want Genesis to lose money, so they didn't go through a refund process, and so there ended up being more DQs than normal.
Mhm.
It wasn't based on what my conversations were. It was only like 20% DQ rate, which if you know general major DQ rates is not that bad. Usually major
Mhm.
like 8 to 10%, but
Mhm.
that's still like it was at least double what
Mhm.
it's normal. So that made it quite a bit easier. And there were some people who lucked out clearly. Like there was some guy that someone posted on Reddit who made to round two without playing a set, and he just like kind of had the best bracket of all time.
Yeah, he had, like, Wizzy's DQing, and he could say that he advanced over Wizzy.
And I think Void, the ultimate player, he also made round two. He's never done that before. And I think he said he had like two DQs. He's like, I didn't. I think he won one set maybe. And he's like, I
Yeah.
didn't do anything. And I was like, good shit, Void. Good. Thanks, Void. And we all love Void, so it all worked out in the end.
Void's our
Uh,
boy.
Void is dope. Um, so yeah, like I mean, I think that's pretty much what happened. You need to give more time for top 64 to breathe, to put it on stream and all this sort of stuff. If you're really going to optimize for melee viewership, you can't be doing doubles on day one anymore. It's really bad.
Mhm.
All these sort of things are pretty obvious. I don't know if TOs are going to listen and do it good.
Someone
Uh,
in this somebody watching this very stream right now, they might listen. But I'm gonna also bring up one other variable that might explain also why we didn't have peak viewership that we expected. For instance, somebody is bringing up a very fun fact that apparently the peak viewership at Genesis was HBox versus LOD, right?
that makes
The,
sense.
the only real storyline. And then after
Mm,
that, it. What
yeah.
storylines do we have, Blur?
Well, we ended up having a makeshift one with J Mook. We were like, "Who's this guy?" But actually, it was in a weird way more disappointing, right? Because people like J Mook's actually been good for like 2 years, right?
Mhm,
And it's like the whole world doesn't know who he is, and that's like, here's someone who is, a lot of people thought before the tournament was like top 25 in the world, and no one knew who he was, right? And it's like, man, if that's the case, how bad are we doing of a job of like getting other players known, right? Um,
mhm,
and I mean, so that is like it's kind of cool because like people out there can make the false narrative that like some random guy is going really far. But also I think that it shows like what not having rankings for 2, 3 years does. Because the people who came up in that time, it's like they didn't exist, right?
mhm.
Because there hasn't been a story, um, the whole time.
And what would cultivate a story, Blur? Would it perhaps be a number next to their name?
Number next to their name would do a lot. It would do a lot. Even for like the Jmook story. Like let's say you put the number 26 next to his name, which was where he was ranked on Blur Rank. Like
Mhm.
that would still give the story that this is a huge upset. But at
Yeah.
least it will let people know that like this isn't like a scrub.
Yeah,
you
this
know,
isn't like a random that came out of nowhere. It was like, "You too would be in the finals of Genesis."
and why this matters is like let's say Jmook plays Cliche, right?
Mhm.
That set will have better viewership if people know that Jmook's a good player, right?
Yeah.
But it's when Jmook upsets Plup, it's gonna get good decent people caring anyways. But, like, some people won't even, like, tune into the set because 'cause they're like, "Plupp's gonna beat this random guy," right? Like, but then they'll look at the 26 and be like, "Maybe he won't," you know?
Mhm.
And things like that. Numbers next to names is great.
Yeah.
Um,
I think part of the big impact is rankings not being a thing because we don't have any rankings. People don't know what's going on in a weird way. And since we're not counting online, according to a lot of the community, people are like, "Oh, I'm surprised Lon made it this far," and it's like, well, it was pretty obvious based on his online trends. In fact, a lot of people that were doing well online, like Salt and Bobby, they placed pretty well. Wasn't really that much of a surprise. Um,
well, okay, so 2 things. Number 1, not counting online according to a lot of the community. I feel like almost everyone I've talked to wants to count online. Literally
yeah,
all. I don't think
we
there's
should.
this. So I wouldn't say a lot of the community feels that way. I'd say one organization feels that way, and
Okay,
they
yeah.
feel that way because of Nintendo.
Hmm.
So I don't know if there's a lot of people who even are on that fence anymore, really. Like, it's very
Hmm.
few people, if there are. Um, the second thing is, we do have our ranking. It's more about, like, we're not using it really,
Hmm.
um, in the in the way that, we would use a normal ranking. Now, I'll admit that this little list I made is not, like, the end all be all, but we gotta do something. Like, we can't be just doing this like this.
Hmm.
Um, and 'cause our viewership's not gonna be as good, like, when there's no storylines, it's not that complicated. Like, I don't know, it feels like the hard part about doing Melee stuff is that, like, a lot of it feels like stuff we figured out 7 years ago, and we have to, like, either teach new people who churned out or teach the same people it again, you know? It's like, dude, we had this stuff. We had this stuff figured out. Like, why is this that complicated? Just make a fucking list. Like, I don't know. It's not that complicated. Um
Just so decentralized. How do we solve that?
We don't have to solve all that. We just need to make a fucking list and go by it.
No,
Like
but like regarding like we've done this before, right? Did you learn this 7 years ago? And it's like I think it's because we're just super decentralized as a community.
yeah. I mean, still, we were decentralized then though, and we did it right. Like
Oh, yeah, but like we weren't that decentralized actually compared to today.
compared to today, that part is true. Um, it was a nice era when everyone just listened to the Blur, and then I decided not to do anything. Um, anyway, so that's annoying. In that it's cool that Jmook did well. It kind of sucks that no one knew who he was to begin with,
Yeah.
because he was good for fucking 2 3 years and no one knows who he is. It's like kind of sad.
Hmm.
And it's not just a COVID thing, right? It's
Yeah.
just how we're promoting people right now. Um, so that was the thing. I'm hoping Pound, because Pound has the advantage of only being 300 entrants.
Yeah.
So
We
like their stream's gonna be better because their whole thing
one
should
could
be
hope.
right. Like they don't have anything else. They just have like top players,
Raw
So like
melee.
they can't put bad sets on stream. There's only gonna be good sets.
Hmm.
So I expect Pound to actually. I wouldn't be surprised if Pound outperforms.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean it has Leffen.
it has insane top players. It's gonna probably have a better uh
Ramp up.
like stream ramp. Like, do I think it's possible that Pound gets more than 60K viewers? Yes, yes, I do. Um, because it's just like look at the names, and again, they're gonna have 3 days of good stuff probably if they're smart. I don't know if they're smart, but they should, right?
You
And
should be
that
on
will
there,
probably
Blur.
I mean, they don't have the Genesis name, which is like big part of the Genesis bump of like why it
Yeah.
gets such good viewership. But if Pound gets comparable viewership, you'll know why. It's probably because they're more optimized, and probably by accident. Because again, when you have this amount of entrants, it's like you don't really have anything else other than
Hmm.
good sets. So
Hmm. Um, so speaking of Pound, that is literally in like 3 days. So, and we got confirmation that Leffen is going, found a dog sitter, and we also got confirmation that Mango TPP'd his way in. Unfortunately, we also got confirmation that Wizzy will not be attending due to his health issues, and
yeah,
so that's a little bit of a loss. I don't think Plup's attending. Uh, J-Mook's not attending, unfortunately. But pretty much all the heavy hitters, like the top 20s that we had at Genesis, they're
they're
gonna be on
there.
Pound too. And yes, it doesn't have the same depth, but it is the top end is just as stacked, if not more. So
Yeah,
that's
it,
gonna be an exciting one.
it's pretty much everyone but Wizzy is there,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
which is crazy.
yeah.
So Pound's actually gonna be insane. It doesn't have the depth of Genesis, so like that, and apparently that matters a lot because you see the fizz wiggles taking sets. So like, don't
Mhm.
underestimate what depth means. Um, but nonetheless, like you just look at the tippy top level, you're like, oh my god, this is gonna be hot fire sets the whole way. Um, and I hope again, I hope they stream everything in top 16. They should.
Please,
There's no excuse. Um,
please,
please. Have one KoDoRiN set on stream. That's all we ask.
please. That's just like not my set versus Lord. Please.
Wait, what happened versus you versus Lord?
Oh, I beat him. You were wrong.
What happened though?
Well, he took a game and like he side bait a lot, and I'm like, how about I don't get hit by side bait anymore? And then I won.
He took a game though. You were
He did
shaking
take
your
a game.
boots.
I was shaking my boots. I was like, ah, dude, Falcon could just beat the beat the crap out of Mart sometimes, you know?
Dude,
It
it's
just
fucked up.
happens.
It's actually fucked up, isn't it?
Yeah, and then, I had to hold that L. It was weird, like, he struck to Yoshi's against me, and then when he took game 2 in Stadium, I was like, "Shit, he banned Fallon, and I can't go back to Yoshi's." I'm just gonna go back to Stadium, I don't think Stadium's that bad for Mart, so, it
Oh,
was
Lord beat Mech.
yeah, he did beat Mech, I called it.
Yeah, dude.
But what was
M-
disappointing is after he lost to me, he lost to Dance of Demand, a Sheik.
Lord. Oh, he did? What the that's a weird one.
Yeah.
Uh, it's Lord got definitely underseeded a bit because that's a scary opponent for literally every
You can't fault the seeding team for that. It's like
yeah.
his last tournament was literally Genesis 3. You don't know where to seed him.
Yeah, that's true. I don't
So,
fault him for that.
yeah.
Mech had a pretty bad result in the end because he had Lord, then lost to John Wick, who John Wick had a pretty good tournament. Shout out to Marth.
Mhm. John Wick's
Um,
pretty good.
yeah.
Um,
Anyway, we were talking about Pound.
yeah,
Who do you think
Pound,
is gonna win? Who do you think is gonna win?
same.
If there's justice in this world, Zayn. But if there isn't, who wins?
Uh, if there's no justice in this world, it would be Leffen, right?
Yeah, it's probably Leffen, huh? If there's no justice. We're talking about
Yeah,
no justice in the world, it'd be Leffen would win, right?
yeah, because like he would say himself he's probably not deserving to win Pound with like very little practice, just arriving last second, taking care of a dog more than playing melee, and then he wins, and it's like, well, shit, like what do we have to say to ourselves at that point?
What's funny is he has the best he could go all Sheik the whole tournament.
Yeah,
He has
that's also the interesting thing.
he has Axe, Amsa, uh, Zayn, and then
Mech.
and Mech, right? Until winners finals. So literally he could go Sheik
That's
until
that's
winners finals.
that's a Sheik bracket if I've ever seen one. But I don't think he should go Sheik versus Yoshi versus Amsa. I mean, that is a horrible idea if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, he should just go Fox and everything
Yeah.
but Zayn.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
Fox beats those characters just as bad pretty much.
Mhm. It's just that like Amsa, like if you only know the level 1 stuff, you're gonna lose. Like you gotta work a little harder than that.
I could
And
see the argument for Axe though.
yeah, yeah, I think like at least on FD, I could see it. Although I
Yeah.
still think for the most part, I should stick with Fox.
He just doesn't know the matchup enough to do it,
Yeah,
I don't think he'll go Sheik against anyone but Zayn.
yeah,
He
that's
doesn't know
probably the
any other
reality.
matchup. Yeah.
um,
Um, but so okay, so and then I mean this is a hard one to predict, right? Like what mango are we gonna get? You know, is it gonna
he's
be
seeded against HBoss again.
oh that's fun.
That will be interesting. Does he beat? Does what kind of mango are we gonna see there? Does he learn enough in the span of 1 week?
Also, there's IBW versus Laud, or I guess you potentially if you beat Laud.
Yeah,
Um,
potentially.
Potential. And I think Cody could lose that easily.
Yeah, like he's not the most proficient against Peach yet.
Laud's cracked.
Mhm.
So I could see Laud in winners finals. Because if let's say if Mango even beats HBox,
I don't
uh,
I
Laud
don't
could
think
beat
I don't
Mango.
think Lod beats either Mango or HBox.
Okay, dude, he wins one set, and you think HBox just beats Laud like that? They're
Yeah.
close. It's gonna be close. From you think from now on, HBox is just HBox now?
I think if he isn't screwing around, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I buy into this. I think Laud's still gonna be taking sets until I see differently.
Yeah.
Unless I see like 3 straight HBox wins, I'm not gonna be like, "He's got a lot figured out."
Mhm.
Um, and after that happens, maybe Law's gonna have to pick a different character, like one of his secondaries, I don't know. Um,
Lod Fox, huh?
that was that the one he'd go, you think?
Lod Yoshi?
Oh, right, Laud has a Yoshi. Actually, that's a good idea. It's
That's a
another
terrible idea, don't do that.
it's another double jump cancel character. It's
Uh,
unfortunately, Yoshi's too hard. I don't think you can have a Yoshi secondary, like, in
no,
Melee.
no.
It's like,
Well,
Yoshi's like
at least unless your name's Santi, who
yeah, but
started off as a Yoshi name.
he dropped his Yoshi pretty much. He still has it kinda, but
Well,
I don't know.
he dropped it and then brought it back exclusively against me in pizza times.
That's hilarious.
And it still took
Um,
me to game 5 last hit.
so anyway, I still watch Laud. I could see Laud being in winners final. I still think it's possible. Um, and I mean, yeah, if you told me to pick, I guess Zayn because I think he's the best player.
Mhm.
It's
I
hard to make
mean, like,
decisions.
I have I'm a look. because I wasn't super confident in Genesis because, like, the nerves and all, but,
Yeah. Now it's gonna
um,
be now his chances
now
are
he has
actually
he
better.
he has a confidence. If he lost Genesis, like, say Jmook stole it from him, I would not say that Zayn would pound.
Right, so going to Genesis, what smart bettors were saying was that, yeah, Zayn's the best player, but he might just choke because he hasn't been to a tournament for a while, like, he hasn't been in the hot seat enough. What he told me was he needed to lose that game to Logos. That's what he
Yeah,
said. I
apparently.
actually he said, "I needed to lose a game to Logos." The Logos set was hilarious. He 3-stocked him, then Logos barely won 1 stock, and then Zayn 4-stocked him.
Yeah, that's
So it
kinda
was
funny.
like that's hilarious. But, basically, he was like, "I need to be like, feel my mortality to, like, keep be in that zone, be on the killer instinct, of, like, never, like, let your guard down sorta stuff," right? So I think Logos actually helped Zayn win in a way, but now
Don't give it that credit.
now that here's the problem, though. Zayn won through winners. Usually, when we say Zayn gets nervous, it's because he faces adversity. He didn't face that much adversity at Genesis, honestly,
Yeah.
right? He didn't face, like, any adversity.
His greatest adversity was Logos taking a game off of him.
Oh, and I guess IEW went last stock, but he never went to losers, right? And basically every set was pretty much in his favor, except for the Cody one, which was closer. But he
Yeah.
actually had counter pick advantage, I think, for a lot of that, right? So,
Yeah, well, not versus Cody.
right,
Like
I know Yoshi's right, so maybe
mhm.
not. Anyway, point is the
But,
Cody
like,
was
major, major adversity, like, we're talking, like, dropping the losers bracket, uh,
right, being
getting
down, having to make a
yeah,
comeback,
yeah.
like, having to
So,
make a big comeback, that sort of stuff.
like, cause like, I think Zayn can make minor comebacks, like, just about anyone could do that, but, like, we're talking, like, what if he's down 0-2?
Right, exactly. He didn't make no 3-0 comebacks, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, isn't to say I think that he can't do that stuff. In fact,
Yeah, he's done it before. It's
I
just
think
not really
his
known for it.
mentality, his "don't test me" mentality, like, if he has that, he can totally do that kinda stuff. But it's
Doable,
more like
doable.
right, if he's, like, exclamation point doable, during the sets, I expect that he'll do he's at his best form, but he just hasn't had to do that for a while. So that's where people were criticizing him. So I don't think Genesis really wiped that away because he won through winners, right? Where it's like,
But it's
I
still,
haven't
like, better. It's still pretty good.
right, but it's very likely that he'll face adversity, more adversity this time, right?
Yeah, I mean, if well, kind of. Like, cause
It's possible he would
looking
just
at his
win through
bracket
winners
path
again.
I'm
He
looking
can
at
win
his
through
bracket path, and it's like, well, he has none who Zayn's probably gonna beat, and then, like, there's Leffen, which is, like, I don't know, we're probably not gonna see Leffen at his top 4, and so it's probably not gonna be like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Amsa win. Um, and
beat
then,
left.
like
Yeah.
and then, like, through wild performances from Laud, he beats IBDW and HBox, and then it's Zayn Laud in winners finals, and then Zayn probably takes it, and then
Yeah. So basically it's
what
totally
are the
possible.
chances? Yeah.
So there's still a high percentage chance that Zayn never gets tested again and he just went through winners because he's better,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But where everything gets screwy is if he actually has to reach deep, and then we don't know anymore, right?
Mhm.
That doesn't say again that he can't do that. He's not a choker or anything. In my view, I think it's more that you have to practice that skill, and it's just been a
Mhm.
while for him because
Yeah.
he wins so easily against so many people
Yeah.
that because he is the best that it's hard. So I don't know. I still think it's like his odds are higher than Genesis. So I think going to Genesis, I was like, oh, like 30% chance Zane wins. I think this is like closer to like 40-50 actually
Mhm.
this time because he's got a tournament under his belt. Um, but I think like that's still not that high a percentage, right? Like ultimately, I think there's like 5, 6 people who can win this one, right? It's like Zane can win, Cody can win, Mango can win, Amsa can win. Um, guess there's like a 1% for Laud winning. But it's not high.
It's just it. it might be below 1% because he has to fight Zayn.
He might not have to if Zayn loses to Leffen.
I don't think Leffen would lose to Laud. Did you forget that Leffen's a peach killer?
Yeah, you never know. But anyway, also maybe Zayn will lose. Lot's really good. Um,
Oh yeah,
anyway,
no doubt. Of course, he's a top 10
I
player,
I
very
I
clearly.
I I don't think there's. I think 1% I'm gonna give to Lot because
Yeah.
I think it's he's so good. He could
Hmm.
maybe even do it.
Yeah.
And then I guess you have to give Leffen some percentage. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's like probably sub 5%, right?
5. Yeah, I was gonna say 5.
Something like that. So it's like, what are our numbers? We're like, I think it's like 50% Zayn, 25% Cody, 24% Mango, and oh wait, that's too many percents. Something like that. And then
I
okay,
I
wait,
don't think he's really in a position to, you're right that he has the second highest chance. I still don't like 25% odds. I like 15 to 20.
for Cody,
Yeah.
you might be right. And then
Yeah.
you think the Mango odds are lower than Cody, right?
I think it's like 15 to 18%.
Oh, so you think Mango's odds are higher than Cody?
No. Wait, what? Well, they're roughly
Yeah,
around the same. I don't know.
they're about the
It's
same.
like,
They're about the same. I agree.
yeah. So,
Let's just give them both 15% ish.
yeah, sure.
Well, then how do we
Uh,
fill it out? That doesn't make sense. If Zayn's 50, they're both 15. There's
well, that makes
20% left.
sense. That
Yeah, if
makes
there's
sense.
20% left. There's 20% left. Leffen gets 5%. Amsa gets 5%. 10% left. I don't think the rest of the field has 10%.
Fuck it, give
Yeah.
them 10% to Zayn. I don't care.
All right, give Zayn 60. I don't think it's Zayn 60. That's too much.
That's the weird thing. I I like how Harper put it. 40% Zayn, 20 Cody, 20 Mango, 9 Leffen, 1 Field.
No, I think maybe I like what 40 20 20 5 for Amsa, 4 for Leffen, 1 field. I
Yeah.
can't think and I think the
Wait,
one
you think
field
Upset has a higher chance than Leffen?
and I think the one field is all Laud, actually. 'Cause I don't think HBox can win really. Um, I think who?
Wait,
Amsa's not higher
yeah,
chance than Leffen?
yeah,
Probably not, you're right. Okay, so
yeah,
5 Leffen, for Amsa, right?
yeah,
It's close though.
yeah.
They're not that far.
It's just like Amsa, like he just has too many walls.
Yeah, he has too many people who would be really hard.
Mhm.
But there's no plup at this.
Yeah, there's no club.
So, we say
No
it's
Wizzy.
just no Wizzy. It's no Wizzy, no plup. Those are his 2 hardest walls, last I checked.
Zayn?
Honestly, that's the crazy part. Zane's actually his hardest wall nowadays. Zane does 1,000 damage per game and wins.
Yeah. Zayn's never lost to Amsa.
It's so hilarious.
Mhm.
Harpa says there's 10% left. Oh, well, we want 50% Zane anyways. Anyways, you got it. It's 50% Zane, 20 IBW, 20 Mango, 5 Left 4 Amsa, 1% Laud.
Mm.
That's what we're locking that in. We figured it out.
Yes.
Um,
Mathematics.
mathematics. Crane says
Uh,
none could win, none can't win. I hate to tell you this.
no.
No, no, he can't. He can go really far though. He can
Yeah,
get top 3 probably is probably his peak, but I doubt he can
yeah.
do it. HBox, is there any way he could win? No, right?
No, no.
No, no, no. He can get top 3 as well.
Yeah.
But that's about as well as he could do.
Mhm.
Um, and so yeah, I mean that sounds about right. But I mean it's still gonna be crazy. No plup is actually super interesting because so what is your analysis as a Marth player of Amstel Zane? Do you remember what did you watch a lot of it? I haven't
Yeah,
analyzed.
I caught back. I watched some of it, and it was like, Zayn was trying some setups on, like, early kills on Yoshi. It's like he still has, like, a really good game plan, like walling out Yoshi, just not getting hit for free, putting Yoshi in disadvantage as much as possible. And then, like, what kind of made a difference maker was, like, him finding some crucial gimps and some crucial armor breaks, like, when he went out there upbeat, when he get that pivot tipper, when also, like, double jump cancel low to the ground, and then I, like, killed him at 20. Uh, and then,
Yeah.
like, he tried constantly, like, F smashing at the ledge. That didn't work at first, but then, like, towards the end of the set, it started to work, and I was like, "Oh, that's what you're trying to go for. You're just, like, breaking his armor so then he just instantly dies," you know? So it
Yeah.
seemed like Zane was just playing his game plan and found ways to kill Yoshi early.
Also, up B out of shield is really good against Yoshi.
Oh yeah, that's the normal game plan for Zane. It's like he
Yeah.
finds like once he just build him up that like kill percent, which is like 200%, he just upbeats out shield.
So just to talk about the game for a second. Yoshi nair jabs your shield. You up B out of shield.
Hmm.
Yoshi doesn't want to and can't really shield because it's Yoshi.
Hmm.
So Yoshi pretty much has to jump up there. Or like if Yoshi does anything, he gets up beat out of shield pretty much. Right? Like was there
Well, it depends on how he's shield pressuring. Like there is like possibilities that like he could just do nair, 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 but then like you could light shield out of that. It's like it's not like he doesn't have to like jab immediately, you
But I
know?
mean after yeah, but after his jab, let's say your reacting to jabs with up B out of shield, right?
Hmm.
Uh, which I'm pretty sure you could do.
Yeah.
After his jab, what could he do? Could he even dash away in time?
He could jab again.
But
Double
that's
jab.
fine. Isn't that fine?
Yeah.
Because what you're really so basically, it sounds like there's nothing else you can really do after jab on Marth if you up out shield, to my understanding. Nothing good.
Yeah. I mean, like I've seen just Yoshi's opt for just like another nair, you know?
Genji says parry. Yeah, but they never parry after their jab. Like that's first of all really hard, but also like not something they really do. And
Hmm.
if you jab again, you could just hold down during your up B and win. That's like sounds doable. I mean, maybe it's tough because you have to press up then down. I don't know.
Yeah.
But also like is getting jabbed by is not that big a deal. The hard part is you don't want to get nared. And it pretty much stops you from getting nared, right?
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about. Is that pretty much you see a Yoshi jab your shield, you should be up being. It sounds like. Um,
Yeah.
it's really hard
Uh,
for that.
uh, mostly at kill percents.
They can maybe dash away, but I don't think they can actually, because
Yeah,
Yoshi's
no,
so
there's no
fat.
Isaiah frames.
He's also so fat.
Hmm.
Like his is not really good at that. So anyway, that's really. I mean, Zayn's becoming really hard
Hmm.
because he does 1,000 damage a match, and turns out Marsour is really big
Zane is a problem. He is
for
a problem
Amsa.
now.
It's
That's
like
quoting
the
Scar after he won Genesis 7.
the narrative has been that Amsa can win a tournament, but like
Nah, he
the
really
theory was well he could if like the theory was
he kind
okay.
of missed his window, unfortunately.
I think the only problem like dodging a Wizzy or a Plup, which were his old walls, is doable and still winning like clearly like through this tournament. Because he can beat everyone else, except he has a dodge Zane now too, and dodging Zane's really hard
Wait,
because Zane makes it
you
far.
think he could just easily beat Leffen in IBDW?
Not easily, but he could. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. I mean, he's never beaten Leffen or IBDW before.
I don't think he could though.
Only
I
if
think
they're
he could.
playing really exceptionally bad.
It's becoming much. Maybe the 4% is too generous. It sounds like it's becoming harder and harder, actually, in a
Yeah,
weird way.
I suppose like for in Leffen's case, it sure it could happen since he's on in practice. I don't think he could beat IBDW.
Yeah. But anyway, I would like to see Amsa take one major this year. This could be the one. The one without Wizzy and Plup, you'd assume is like a pretty good odds for him. So we'll stick with the 4% on him, but he's got to figure the Zane kid out.
Yeah.
How hard can it
Uh,
be? I thought he said Yoshi beats Marth. What happened?
how hard could it truly be?
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate his enthusiasm, but gotta prove it at some point.
Yeah. It's tough.
So that is our pound preview. Unless there's anything
No.
else that you want to know.
That's it.
And during that pound, by the way, is when Summit nomination, like literally, some people are going to be eliminated during pound.
Yeah, not the best scheduling.
Uh, which, by the way, shamelessly, please vote for me. I have incentives. I have like the best player running. So uh, any votes that you could send my way, that'd be greatly appreciated. And like, if I'm still in it after Monday, I'll be doing some stuff with Mango. Uh, it- it- I that's gonna be a trip, and I think that this is probably gonna be like the lowest price pool summit that we're gonna get.
Think so?
Yeah, because well, we don't have H box, and unfortunately, VIP votes don't count towards like any contribution. Uh, I think this is gonna be like I don't know, like 15-20K price pool, which I don't know if that's like the lowest that we've had, but yeah, I mean, like running this during Genesis and Pound, that's why why.
Yeah, so maybe not the best timing for campaigning. So like you're gonna be campaigning while at Pound.
Why about
Like
Pound? Why are they doing that?
I
Uh,
don't know. It's not so good. Um
and
nonetheless,
like
I
that's
mean,
why like a lot of like high profile players aren't campaigning because say like none didn't get in soon or say that none didn't qualify, he literally is going to Pound the week like he has been only exclusively been in flights. How is none supposed to campaign if he didn't qualify to Genesis? He can't. And uh like
hmm,
I
he's on
don't
the he's in an airplane, you know? Is there a
yeah.
file to call Harbor House? No, this was it. Pretty much the rest is just through campaigning. And it's
Yeah.
actually going on right now.
It closed like right after Genesis. So I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of top players just like didn't know.
I think I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it like in Reddits and stuff. That like it's currently happening right now.
Yeah.
Like some of nominations are like over and there's like voting right now, right?
Yeah. And elimination
So
is gonna happen during Pound.
tomorrow.
And when I looked up like nominations when I because like I was drinking with Mango a little and he convinced me that like oh yeah I'll support you if you're like if Johnny and Lucky don't go and I'm like all right I'll do it and then I looked at the nominee list there was only 19 people nominated and then I was the 20th nominee. Everybody that opted in already got to the voting phase. Like, I bet you some of them were just trolling. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna go in for fun, haha. And they're in the voting phase because not like at most 20 people opted in.
They're not this time. Usually it's like a mix of top players and like others, but this time it's like you and Sora, and then I guess Mech and Salt
And
and Logan.
Logan. Yeah, it's like
Uh,
I am by far the best player, like not even close.
Frenzy
And
too.
that
So
might just make me the meme pick. Usually the meme pick is somebody that's like, oh, this one of these are not like the other. I think I'm one of them, not like the other.
right, there's Frenzy too. Sorry to mention that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, I don't think top players can really, most of them at least, can really opt in because it's literally during Genesis and Pound. So like, how are they supposed to campaign? And also, I think over time they've slowly wanted to campaign less and less as a rule,
Mhm,
which is hard because this is how they fund the whole freaking event. Without this voting process, the summits don't really work, right? And
mhm.
they need to work because they're pretty important for our scene. You know.
Yeah.
Um, so right now, if you guys want to know what the standings are, because again, 4 people get eliminated tomorrow. Or I guess not tomorrow, 2 days, because it's 1 day and 17 hours is what it says.
Mhm,
Um, Dark Jennings has the lead. Dark Jennings is gonna get in.
mhm.
Um, then you are next, but you only have 4K votes. That's like nothing.
Yeah, that's like
No-
that was nothing in, like, the past summits.
Well, look, man, it's really early in the process. But at this point, you would expect more votes still, but it is really early, nonetheless, because it doesn't end. until end of month. So it's like a week long thing, pretty much. Um, Now, having said that, during that week, 4 of those, like, 6 days are pound days, basically, so,
Yeah. But
um, which is tough. But nonetheless, we'll see how it shakes out. Um, there is HBox, None, Pipsqueak, Plup, IBW, Jmook, Laud, Mango, Leffen, and Zane qualified already. So it's gonna be a good tournament.
yeah, yeah, regardless, it's gonna be a good tourney. But like, wow, they could have done the voting phase a little better, in my opinion. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. I can't criticize their schedule too much, and then I don't know the ins and outs. But like, they really could have delayed this like a week. I don't know.
Um, I love the Survivor theming. I think that's gonna be really, really cool.
Ken better be there.
Dude, they gotta have Ken there. It's in
Like that.
SoCal.
Like, dude, at least lightly cosplay as Ken. I don't care. Like, Ken needs to be there.
People are, saying they don't like the store. I actually think this store looks pretty good. Am I crazy?
Majority from the reception I've seen, they don't like it.
You think this is hmm. I really like the buffs though. Team Wispy and Team Randall. You see that? You get a bandana like Survivor. That's kinda
Yeah,
cool.
but eh. I mean, are you gonna buy it?
Oh, I never buy anything.
Oh. I mean, I don't know. I think they went downhill since Summit 6, the
Oh,
anime one.
you think so? The anime one was crazy good merch though.
Yeah, and they haven't really replicated that since, in my opinion.
Anyway, it's a long time still. Look, a lot of times people say this stuff in previous summits, and then voting pops off because people really want to get in, and
Yeah,
they do crazy stuff.
yes. I think that's like, well, that was the mindset during nominations. Like, oh, no one's entered, I'm gonna enter. And then like and actually everyone enters and it's actually the hardest summit. But that already ended. And I'm looking at the lineup and it's like, damn, what happened? Uh
You
now
don't think like
obviously I could still get I if I'm not diligent, like I could
you
get
still
out,
lose?
obviously.
Like,
Yeah, I could still lose, but it's
y-
like,
you think
damn, what
you
happened?
see your mentality right now is someone who's not going to make it to summit. You're like, oh, it seems like people. This is going to be lower voting counts, and you're just going to get spirit bombed by goddamn Captain G and Travioli, and you're gonna it's not gonna be a fun time for KoDoRiN. Is that's usually people who think like this lose really bad at summit voting.
The guy that is literally probably putting the most effort right now is gonna get out.
Is gonna get out. You think so? Who's putting the most
Me,
effort?
me. Okay, aside from Dark Genix, I'm not counting him.
You're not putting in any effort. What are you doing?
What do you mean? I'm putting up incentives. I'm going to the campaign of mangoes. I have some bombs ready.
You have bombs ready?
Yes.
All right, you might have a chance.
You don't think I'm putting any effort?
You didn't sound like it.
I'm just saying that I am a little disappointed. That's all. Compared to like the past summits.
Why?
Which for me is good. I want
Yeah,
this to be no
like
competition.
you want it to
But
be the
I
least.
am concerned about the health of summits.
You want this to be the least amount of money as possible. You
Kind of.
know, look, man. Then again, like the Summit brand has gotten pretty good. That like this one's presented by Coinbase. Like their
Yeah, they're
sponsorship,
probably jacked. It doesn't matter.
their sponsorships are probably better than ever before.
Yeah.
I mean, they did the Papa John's thing, so it's like, who knows, man. I'm not too worried about it, but if anything, I'm just like, I'm surprised other people didn't opt in.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what I was shocked about. But and then when I explained it, oh, it's during Genesis, it's during Pound. Yeah, that makes sense why a lot of people
yeah, but
didn't
some of
opt
them
in.
might have, like, none might have made it in, or Johnny or someone just by opting in and nothing else. Like they might not.
Yeah.
Do they? Like I don't know. I don't know if they would have had to do anything.
Yeah, I agree.
So
But
anyway,
yeah, well, anything else to talk about Blur? I feel like I went over everything aside from y'all should vote for me for Summit. You got any votes, Blur?
no, I never vote.
What? You know, not even the free ones?
Nah.
Seriously? No, you should be getting votes if you like entered some tourneys.
Yeah, but I don't use them.
Why?
Takes time.
What? What?
I also don't want to be biased.
What? 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 What if
I like
Zayn
that.
was running? Wouldn't you vote for him?
No.
What? Why?
Why would I? You just want some
Why
votes.
not?
You're so desperate. All right. Anyways, can we wrap this up?
What? Wait, well, no, no, well, I'm just curious. Like, you don't want to see your favorite player get in?
You think you're my favorite player? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, you also said no to Zayn, so yes, that is what I'm getting at. Okay, no, I said that wrong. No, I don't care whether or not you think you're my favorite player, but I'm kind of surprised you said you would say no. I would not vote in Zayn.
Coda, we're at the part of the show where you are using it to get my votes for Summit. And this is right around when we should end. Let's move on. Bye.
What? Thanks for the support, Blur. Thanks a
End
lot.
end the show.
Oh, anything else you want to talk about as you
No,
selfishly hoard your votes?
no, end the show. I'm tired.
Uh, all right. Well, there you go. Blur is selfish, and I am gonna give the okay to our producers.
Ugh.
Yeah, Pound's gonna be fun. Pound's gonna be fun. Summit's gonna be fun. You have no faith in me, Blur, and yeah.
You're gonna get in. You don't need me.
It's not just about needing you, Blur. It's about the sentiment. That's what I was looking for. It's like, it's like, yeah, of course, I don't need your 10 votes, but it would have been nice. Just like a compliment, just a
I taught
thank you.
I
You're
taught
not
this
giving
kid
me that.
I
Let's
taught
end
this
this
kid
show. Let's end
I
this show. Yeah,
I
go,
taught this
boy. Go.
I taught this kid too well. He's doing the guilt trip, he's doing the shame. The problem is I'm impervious because I taught you these things. Now go on and end the show, god damn it.
It has nothing to do with what you taught me. It has everything to do with the sentiment.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Anyway, end the show, god damn it.
Yes, I'm pinging them. I was doing this whole while I was talking. I was telling them. Anyways, we're gonna sign off.
Alright. Hell yeah.